Let's talk about CSS. I'll be teaching you some purposes of CSS, and also I'll be using it in the project we created in the HTML we did the other day. So I would like you guys to sit tight and learn from this. And also, I'll be teaching you guys some tricks in CSS. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. This is how our website looked like the other day we wrote our HTML code. But this is how it will look like after writing our CSS today. For us to move to CSS, there's something we have to do. Our file is just here. We can't just write CSS here. It doesn't make sense. So we need to move our CSS to a folder. So for us to do that, let's create a folder. New folder. Let's call it my profile. Okay, my profile. Now what are we going to do next? Let's long click on this, then move. Where are you moving it to? My profile. Move here. Okay, after moving it, we'll create another file which is a CSS file. So we call it index.css. Okay, now no, let's not use index.css. Let's use styles.css. Okay, now go. After creating it, we'll start by talking about how you can link your CSS to HTML file, because you can't just write your HTML file like that and expect it to work. You have to link it to your HTML. So for you to do that, remember something I told you about, something about this HTML. I said this head, what you use this head for is to link other things you want to link to your HTML without it showing on your browser. So for us to do that, there's something. If you're on PC or your laptop, whatever it is, create a folder, then move this file to the folder. When you move this file to the folder, create the CSS file the way I created it, the way I'm creating it now. I'll still talk about how you can create how you can do all these things on your PC, but first, for now, let's do this. So you say link, okay, rel, then equals to style sheet, style sheet. Okay, now this should be in this style sheet. Okay, after doing that, href is what? Okay, then you link the file, the name of the file, to this. Okay, styles.css. I remember that we used index.css the other time. We would have used index.css, but since we used styles.css, so we are using styles.css as our name. So we have this linked now. So after creating our CSS file, let's go to the CSS file now. We'll be starting with the universal selector, and that is the the star. Now in the star, we'll style it this way. We'll say margin. We'll set margin to 0. And why are we setting margin to 0? We are setting margin to 0. We are actually using the universal selector to reset all the default setting or whichever browser we are ever going to use our application or website on. Whatever settings they are, we are setting it back to the reset, which is 0. So our margin will be 0. And what do we use margin for? Margin is used to shift whatever we have, whatever tag or element we have. For example, when you have margin as 10, it will shift it from the length by 10px. If you have it as 10px, it will shift it from the left by 10px. or whatever you use. Now let's use padding 2. We are setting our padding to 0. The same thing, the padding is also the same thing. The margin, this is not margin left, this is margin. So it's whatever it is, be it top, bottom, right, or left, it's setting it to 0. So we are having the whole web page, the whole browser, the whole screen to ourselves now. So we are talking about padding. Padding is also the same, almost the same thing. So our padding is 0. Now let's talk about box sizing. Okay, now the box sizing, what are we going to do with the box sizing? The box sizing is used to remove, the box sizing is used to remove the defaults. The box sizing is used to alter the CSS box model to include padding and border in the element's total width and height. Example, with this, adding padding or border will increase the element's size, which can complicate the layout calculation. This property simplifies layout design by making elements easier to size and align. So we are setting our box sizing to what? We are setting it to border box, which is the explanation I gave earlier. So after that, let's change our body. Note, these are not classes, okay? These are not classes. We are just selecting it, the properties. Okay, now we have body. What do we have in the body? Let's talk about font family. The font family is like the fonts of your text or whatever you want to do. The text and everything, the old text in it. So we have the font family as what? We have it as, let's use Arial and Sans. Just teaching you how to use those CSS so you can understand it better, to get better understanding. .6. Okay, we have 1.6. Let's use 1.6. Okay, now after using 1.6, let's change our background color. Color. We can change our background color to anything. Okay, let's say red. Okay, let's say red. This is it. See, this is your background color. You can change it to red or whatever it is you want to change it to, but we are not changing it to red. We are changing it to white. Okay, let's keep it at white. So this is it. And if you want to use background image, check out my other video that I did here before. I told you how to. So we have our color as what? We have our color as okay. Now let's do this. This is our color, our padding. Like I explained padding the other time. We are also, but this time around, we are setting our padding to 20px. Okay. This time around, we are setting our padding to as 20px. So we are having something like this. Can you see? It has moved it away from the left and the top. Are you getting my picture? It has moved it away a bit from the left and the top. Okay, that's the work of the padding. Now, let's talk about this header. You know, we have header here, right? We have header elements here. So for the header elements, let's style it. We are picking the header elements. So let's say header elements. Let's style it. So what do we have in the header? We have background color. What should we use for the background color? Background color. Let's say the background color is ash. Okay, what is the color? We are using this for the color. Let's use, okay, this we set, this is actually white, okay. Then we have padding. We already explained padding, right? So we are setting the padding to 20px2. 20px2. We are test align. What does test align do? The test align will set all your tests to wherever you want it to be. Okay? Sorry. Test align. Now, I want to set my test align to right. Okay? Let's set it to right. Let's set it to right. Let's check it out. Can you see? Check it out to right. But no, we don't want it to be at the left. At the right, rather. Let's set it to center. I want it to be in the middle. Center. So now that we've set it to center, what do we have here? We have C. Can you see it? Center. So it looks cool now, doesn't it? It looks cool. So what else are we going to do? We are going to talk about this. Let's talk about header H1. H1. Okay. What do we have as header H1? In our header, what do we have here? Actually, what we have is H2. Let's use H2. H2. Okay. Now, let's do this. We'll say our font size. Our font size is what? Font size. This will give your text size. Okay. Our font size or whatever it is size is 2 em. Okay. Now let's move to margin bottom. So can you see we have margin right and we have margin bottom. So now that we have margin bottom, it will give us something like, it will move it away from the bottom to the top. If you have margin top, it will move it from the top to the bottom. Are you getting this thing? It's a simple logic. 10px. Okay, now we have this. Let's go check it out. There's not much difference, but it still looks cool. So let's move on. So what next are we doing? Let's talk about this. Let's use the navigation. Let's talk about the navigation. Yeah, here. The nav, the UL nav. Okay. So what are we going to do with the UL nav? We have the nav, then UL. Okay. Now that we have it, let's list it. List star. None. And why did we, let me, list style is none. Let me show you why we changed it to none. Can you see? Before, when we didn't change it to none, we're having something like dots. Yeah, I told you the other day that we can actually remove those dots by using CSS. So let me take it back so you can see what I'm talking about. Let me put it back. Let me delete it. Cut, select, and I'll cut so I can paste it later. Can you see? We have this, but using this and setting it to none. Also delete that away. Then we have paste. So it will take it back. Can you see? Now, let's go back. We have the list style as none. Now let's use padding. Padding. Can you see we've been using padding often now? So the padding is 0. Okay, let's use 0 as the padding. So we won't have any padding on it. Display. Instead of display, there's something I want to tell you about it. You see, the way it's displaying now, it's giving us this column, but I want it to be in row. Okay, so for it to be in row, I'll say display flex. Flex. So when you say flex, it will display it in flex. Okay, now after putting it in flex, we can have something like this. Can you see? We have something like this, but for it to be in the center, we can say justify contents. File contents. Then put it in center. Okay, you can actually say justify contents space around. Let's see what is going to happen when we say space around. Can you see? Check it out. Space around. Justify content space around. Then if you don't want space around, we can say space between. Space between. Can you let's go check it out. Space between, can you see? But we want something like this. We want it to be in the center. So we say justify content center. So it's all in the center. Okay, so now that we have it, of course we don't like the way it is right now, so I don't like the way it's all together, but we'll do that later. We have justify content center. After the justify content center, we have something like, now let's select it again, nav ul and list. Okay, let's select it. Then we'll use our margin right. You understand what we are trying to do now? Now, this will explain it to you better. Margin right. Do you know why we did it? You know when I was telling you that we have margin left, margin right, margin everything. Now, margin right is going to move it away from the right-hand side to the left. Are you getting the picture now? So the margin right will be, let's use 15 px. Okay. Now, let's go back to check. Can you see? We now have space in between because this hello world has actually shifted to the left. But I don't like the way it's hello world. Now let's change something here in our HTML. Let's change this to something like about. We use hello world to write your first code. About, let's say about profile portfolio and social. Okay, this is about profile, portfolio, and social. Now let's check it out. Can you see? About profile, portfolio, and social. Now let's go back. I think it's looking good. Okay, I hope you're learning 1 or 2. Now that we have that one, now let's repeat this thing again. Well, as you all know that I'm kind of a little bit lazy, I'll copy this thing since I'm adding something to it. Let's copy. Now, let me paste it here. You can actually use this A, but I just want to make this easy for myself. Then we have something like color. I'm talking about the link, the color. Let's say the color is okay. Then we have something like this. We have something like text decoration. Decoration. Okay, we can have something like what is the text decoration? We can say none. Because there's something about the link. When you see it, there's something under that, like underline and all the stuffs. You understand? Underline, dotted, all this, we want it to be none because we don't want those link. We don't want the link to show that it's a link. So we have font size. Like I told you the other time, font size. We are setting our font size. No, we are not font size. We are setting our font weight. What are we setting it to? We are setting it to bold because we want our fonts to be bold. Okay, then we have this. Then let's go ahead and check it out. Let's say this. Our font size is bold. Can you see? It has taken that blue color away. We now have this white color, and it's still a link. If you click it, it's still a link, but because we didn't put anything there, the font size is now blue. It's now white rather. So next, what are we doing next? Let's go to our main. Where do we have our main? What is the main? What is the main? This is our main. Okay, this about me, hello, I'm reading. This one is the main. So we are selecting the main and working on it. So what are we doing on the main? We are saying main. We have something like margin. We need margin for the main. So what do we have for the margin? We say margin, we have 20px, 20px and 0. Okay, now what do we have here? Margin 20px and, let me delete this. I already told you about margin, 20px and 0. Can you see? Just moved it away from the left, and here we are. Okay, now let's go back to the start. I hope you understand. I hope when someone asks you about margin, you can tell them what it is right now with these examples. Now let's use section. We have section there. Let's talk about this section. Now let's use margin bottom. We use margin left and margin right? So now let's talk about margin bottom. Margin bottom. I think we've used margin bottom, haven't we? Yeah, we've used margin bottom before, but we are using it again. So I'm intentionally repeating this things for you so you can have it in your mind. 20px. Can you see? After having it as 20px, let's go check. There's not gonna be any significant changes. See, it has moved it away from the bottom a little bit to the top. You understand? And push the one below it back. Now we have 20px as the margin bottom. Now let's work on the section h2. We have h2 there. Then we have something like this. The h2 element that we have there, which is heading 2. What should we use? Let's use heading. No, font size rather. Font size. What's our font size? Our font size should be 1.5 EM. Okay, that is our font size. Then our margin bottom, bottom again. Okay, our margin bottom will now be what? We'll have our margin bottom as 10px. Then our color will be what? Color will be this. You can actually use any color of your choice, right? I'm just using it because that is what I like. You can use any color you like. It's your choice. Okay. Now that is for the color. Now let's go check it out. What are we checking out in the section H2? My project. Now let's go. Can you see my project contact me? And can you see? Now that is it. All right, guys. The next thing we are going to do is to style our image. Styling our image. Remember the last time we used the image, we added the image. We didn't actually add an image. So for us to do that, let's add an image. And to add an image, let's go back. Go to the file, then click on the plus. Then click this. I'll have to do something to make it easier for us because we can't be writing all these letters. Just in case the name of your image is too long, then you can do something about it. How about you rename it? So we are going to rename our image like this. I'll say, okay, we have something like profile. Okay, the name of our image is profile.image. Since it's profile.image now, let's go. Where is the image? Where did we add the image? So profile.jpg. Okay, so this is the name of the image. Now let's call it profile.jpg. Now check it out. Now the image is here, but this thing, notice something about it. The image is too big and too long. We don't want it to be this big and long. So what we are going to do now is to go back to our CSS and do what? And style it. Styling it, what we are going to do is this. We say max width. Max width is going to be what? Sorry. Image. Then max width is going to be, let's bring this down. Max width is going to be, what is it going to be? It's going to be 100 px. No, let's make it let's say 60 px. Let's go check it out. It's too small. So it's too small. Let's say let's make it 160. Yeah, I think this is okay. Is it not? It's okay. Now let's say our height. Let's say auto. Our height is auto. Okay, now automatic. Now let's have our, let's add border radius. Okay, let's even make this one let's make it 200. Sorry, 200. Let's make our border radius. Border radius. Let's make it 10 ps because I like 10 ps a lot. 10 px. So we have this. Let's go back to our HTML to check it out. Okay, now this is the image. Now we have the letter below it. So border radius will, this is the work of the border radius. You can see the edges, how it's curved. Okay, this is the work of the border radius. Now we have the width. This is how wide it is. This is the height. You see? Now that is for the image. That is what we've done with the image. Now the next thing we are going to do is to have our, we are done with the image, right? We have our let's go do something else. Let's say our form. We've done our form. We don't do anything else in our form. What should we do next? Let's work on the test area. Yeah, this test area that we have here. This test area we have here. This where we're going to put our image. Our message. Let's do something about it. So what can we do? We'll say text area. Or what do we have as a let's say form inputs, form text area. Let's have something like this. Width, let's say our width is going to be 100%. 100%. Okay, 100%. Then our padding, we already talked about padding, right? Padding. Then the padding will be 10 px. Then we have something like this. We have margin bottom. Margin bottom. We have 10 px. 10 px. Okay, we have 10 px. Then we have border. What is going to be our border? Our border is going to be 1 px, which is a 1 px, which is a border. We have solid, so you can see the border itself. We have solid, and the color will be what? The color will be hash 333. All right. Now we have border radius. The radius. We have our border radius as what? We have it as 5 px. Now let's go check it out. Can you see? It extends to the last. Okay. That's how we did here. Now let's go back. But I don't know. Padding. Weights. No, let's not make the weights. Let's say 90%. 90%. Let's go check. We don't want it to be that long. Let's just make it 90%. That'll be too much. And there's something about this thing. Let's break this message down. Where's the message? Test area, button, submit. Let's break it. So we'll say BR. Okay. Now it's broken. Let's go back now and go to our CSS. So after that, let's work with the form button, because there is a submit button there, isn't it? Let's work with it. So form button. So for the form button, let's say background color. What are we going to use for the background color? What color did we use earlier rather? Background color. What color do we use for the head? Okay, we used hash 33. Let's use hash 33 too. Hash 333. Now, what is the color? Let's use hash FFF. Sorry guys. Okay. Now after that, let's go to -fff. Now let's go to padding. Padding. What do we have for the padding? Let's see. What do we have for the padding? Let's say 10 px. Okay. And then we have the 10 px. Border. What do we have for the border? Border is none. We don't need border for it, but we need border radius. None. But we need border radius. So we have border radius. There. Radius. You know the work of the border radius, right? Now we have border radius. What should we use as border radius? Let's say 5 px. Okay, we have 5 px for the border radius. Now cursor. Let's say pointer. Okay, now I think we are done with the button now. Let's go back to check. Now I think the button looks cool, right? It looks cool. We are done with the button. But the last thing we are going to do is this, what's it called? The footer, okay? After the footer, we are done with this styling. And of course, you should practice with these properties, please. We have footer. The footer is this, let's say footer that we have. Then we can use something like this. Say margin top, margin top, something like, let's say 20 px. We need space there. Margin top 20 px. Let's say text align. Like we said, the text align we shift it to the center, like I told you the other time. Text align, we say center. We can also take it to the left or wherever you want to take it to, or right. Now color. What are we going to use for the color? Let's use something like #77. Now let's #777. Okay, sorry. Okay, now we are done with this. I think, yeah, we are done. Yeah, we have this here. Now, can you see how it looks good? Before, when we had the HTML, you remember how it looks like? Now, this is how it looks like. And I so much love it. Trust me. Thank you guys for staying with me on this one too. Before you leave, I would love it if you can kindly subscribe and like, and also click on the notification bell so you can know whenever I drop a new video, so you can be updated all the time. I'll drop the JavaScript later, and also drop your comments. Let me know what you guys want next and what you want me to improve on. Thank you so much. I'll see you next time.